That's it. That's the intro. Once again, it is that time of month where I have all of my subscription boxes to show to you guys. So most of the ones that I have to show to you guys today are my regular, standard, usual suspects, but I do have something brand new and potentially exciting. I'm not too sure about it yet, if I'm being honest. I feel like there's potential for it to be exciting in the future, which is why I signed up. But right now, we'll see. We'll see. But today I am going to be opening 5 boxes for you guys. The brand new exciting one, potentially exciting, is the Forbidden Wing, which is the new Romantasy subscription from the Locked Library. Now, I did sign up for this because I am a fan of the genre. However, I am discovering as time goes on that there is a certain type of romantasy that appeals to me and some just doesn't. And I feel like with this subscription, I don't know. Locked Library have had some bangers when it comes to the fantasy romance genre across the last year, so I thought that they would potentially be shifting those over to this subscription. Maybe they're not. Maybe this is something different. We will find out over the coming months, and I will be utilizing my skips to make sure I'm only getting like the kind of thing that I really want from this subscription. The rest of them are actually all rep packages. I did not get the GSFF this month, but I think I do have it for December. I don't get Afterlight anymore. I've cancelled that subscription completely, and I also skipped the Locked Library. So we have my rep packages from Fairyloot. As always, thank you so much to Fairyloot for sending these over for me to open for you guys. We have all 3 of their monthly subscriptions here. So we have the Adult Fantasy box and the Romantasy box. These ones are both book only subscriptions, so you get a brand new hardback release in an exclusive edition. And then we have the YA box, which is a brand new YA fantasy book in an exclusive edition, but then you also get a selection of Bookish goodies as well. And then we just have my other wrap package of the month, which is of course the monthly Illumicrate. Once again, as always, a big thank you to Illumicrate for sending this one my way. Like Fairyloot, Illumicrate are a UK based bookish subscription box, and in this one you will find a brand new hardback release, either fantasy or sci-fi, and I think this month might be sci-fi, in an exclusive edition with a selection of bookish goodies. What should we start with? Let us go for the Illumicrate, because I do think that I remember what this book is, if it is the sci-fi that I'm thinking it is. I did say in last month's unboxing that I'm not particularly excited for the October to December Illumicrate picks, but I am excited to see the edition, and I'm also excited they've just announced their January theme, and I'm very excited about that one. So it is the book that I think it is, because the theme is Time is Running Out. I also broke a nail yesterday and I covered it in a plaster so you don't have to look at how ugly it is, so you're welcome. But if you guys would like to look at the spoilers for this box, you can pause here and take a little look. But I will be going in blind, and I'm very intrigued by the first thing that I see on top. I do see that we have one of the regular collectible items here, which I think is the one that we're going to start with. This looks to me like it's going to be one of their collectible ceramic book pots, which are some of my favorite Illumicrate items. I do have, I think, all of them. Some designs I prefer more than others based on the color scheme, but I'm guessing that this one's going to be like a time travel book. It is a dimension traveling book. I do like the color scheme because it is grey. It's very much in keeping with a lot of the decor in my house. But these are ceramic pots that are designed to look like fantastical academic texts. This one says jump into alternate realities. The spine says time travel, dimensions and multiverse. And on the back it says an adventure through alternate realities. I'm not sat on the floor, so I don't know where to put anything. The one that was in, oh, that's just, I thought this had something in it. It's just rolled up packaging, my bad. Oh, we have socks. Look, I have tons of socks and I've just bought some new socks recently, but I can never get enough socks. I really like these as well. These are really cute. The little card on them says that they are inspired by The Principle of Moments, which was a past Illumicrate book. And I really like the design on these. It's really cute, and also like a spacey kind of theme, which I do really like. Is this a magnet? Because it feels kind of big. Oh, it's a one more chapter coin inspired by This Is How You Lose the Time War. Is it a magnetic coin? No, it's just like a replica kind of coin, maybe. Oh, I get it. So on one side here it says one more chapter, and then on this side it says go to sleep. So essentially it's like my dice sprints where you never know what's going to happen. You toss the coin and then it tells you whether to read one more chapter or go to sleep. I could make a video with this. That could be interesting. I feel like you have a 50-50% chance though, and that's like not enough potential for chaos, in my opinion. Imagine if I did it in the middle of the day and it was like go to sleep, and I was like, okay then. And then the big one, the intriguing one, is a tumbler. These used to come, I think, in plain boxes, so the fact it was in a printed box threw me off, but I think this is one of Illumicrate's plastic tumblers, which I do use them occasionally for iced lattes, but not super frequently. So I have like quite a few of these now, but this one says the Vagabond Quick. It's a purple one. You do get the straw that goes with it as well. And this one is inspired by Crown Chasers by Rebecca Coffindaffer, which I don't think I know what that is. We now just have the book of the month, which is The Last Hour Between Worlds by Melissa Caruso. This one does have a change of colorway from the original, so I will overlay the original over the top. I believe that it is a pretty black cover, maybe black and gold, whereas this one has been changed to blue. I really like it's very subtle, but just like the foiled stars on this cover I think are really pretty. And I do, because it's like a geometric spacey celestial design, I really like the stenciled edges on here. Inside we also have custom end pages, which I like the art style. They are also different on each side. This one seems a little bit more like almost anime, not quite, but I think it's the poses that they're in is giving that kind of vibe. And then under the dust jacket, we do have a foiled and printed hardcover. These are the types that I don't love, where it's like a full color print with foil. I think it just looks like a lot. Generally, I prefer them to be printed, if I'm being honest, but like if they have to be foiled, then just foiled, I guess, or like more of a subtle print with foiling over the top. But anyway, I don't know too much about what this is. Melissa Caruso is an author who's been around a while, so I'm not sure whether this one is adult or YA, but the authors that have blurbed it on the back are adult authors, so I would assume that it's an adult book. But the synopsis says, a star investigator and her rival journey through layers of reality to save the world as they know it in this whip-smart adventure fantasy packed full of reality. This is a long sentence, man. Let's try it again. A star investigator and her rival journey through layers of reality to save the world as they know it in this whip-smart adventure fantasy packed full of reality-bending magic, sapphic romance, and tantalizing mystery. There should be a comma in the middle somewhere there, like literally why it's not making sense. In this whip-smart adventure fantasy packed, what? In this whip-smart adventure fantasy packed full of reality-bending magic, sapphic romance, and tantalizing mystery. Got it. Anyway, the rest of the synopsis. Kembrel Thorne is spending a precious few hours away from her newborn. Ooh. And she's determined to enjoy herself at the year-turning ball. But when the guests start dropping dead, Kem has no choice but to get to work. She's a member of the Guild of Hounds after all, and she can't help picking up the scent of trouble, especially when her professional and personal nemesis, notorious cat burglar Rika Nonsuch, is also on the prowl. At the heart of the mayhem is a mysterious clock that sends the ballroom down into strange and otherworldly new layers of reality every time it chimes. As the party plunges through increasingly dangerous versions of their city, Kem will have to rely on her wits and Rika to unravel the mystery before catastrophe is unlocked on the world. Okay, I think when it comes to sci-fi, I do really like sci-fi, but I either like things like Red Rising, Gideon the Ninth, Will of the Many, like where they blend fantasy and sci-fi, or I like things that are very intricate and logic based. And I like sci-fi horror. I feel like a lot of the Illumicrate sci-fi picks are more fun, fast, action-packed, like not always space opera, because this isn't a space opera, but that kind of like fun, fast vibe, which isn't for me. So I'm getting like a little bit of levity from the synopsis here. So I'm not sure, but generally speaking, I love sci-fi, so I'll try it out and we'll see. I do like the idea of like time travel and parallel reality, so maybe it will be a hit. Down in the comments, let me know what your favorite item from this month's box is. For me, I'm a basic bitch. It's the socks or it's the collectible ceramic pot. I think I'm in the mood for some items at the minute, so we will go for the YA Fairyloot next. I have previously looked at spoilers of what all the books are, but I don't think I remember specifically what any of the November Fairyloots are, so it will be a surprise. I've just seen something very exciting on the top. Let me dig for that spoiler card. So the theme for this month is love and vendetta, and if you guys would like to pause and take a look at the spoilers, here they are. So the first thing on top that was exciting to me is a Crimson Moth mug. I have a lot of the Fairyloot mugs. I also have some of the old Owl Crate ones and the Illumicrate ones, but Crimson Moth is actually one of my favorite reads of the year, one of my few 5-star reads. So I am excited about this one. Oh, this is a different shape. This is normal mug shape, guys. Oh, it's a bit fatter though. It's so pretty. I like that. I feel like it's slightly, it's taller than the old ones, but it's like wider. I feel like this would be a good size for a coffee for me. Not sure about tea. I like my tea mugs a little, are they bigger though? A normal like standard size mug's bigger. I can't tell, but I like it. Something that is potentially exciting for people who aren't me, unfortunately, is this World of Stephanie Garber calendar. Now, I do know what this is because there was a Sarah J Maas one in one of the like Fairyloots. I'm assuming it was from last year around this time of year. Up until House of Flame and Shadow was released, I was the biggest fangirl of Sarah J Maas. I have since been burnt by House of Flame and Shadow. I was very, very upset about it, but I liked the art in the calendar, the Sarah J Maas one, but then I didn't use it. So considering I have not read any of the Stephanie Garber books yet, I also don't foresee me really using this one. But if you're a fan of Stephanie Garber, you'll probably like it a lot more, especially because even though I didn't end up using the Sarah J Maas one, the cards were stunning, which I'm just going to run through them for you now. So they have like the calendar bit on one side and then also just an art print on the other. And they come with a little block so you can stand them up. I'm just not gonna be changing them out every month, and also I just kept knocking over my Sarah J Maas one, so it went back in the box. But I actually really like the art on these ones, especially because they're foiled and I love the art style. I obviously don't know who anyone is, so I'm just gonna like whiz through the art so that you guys can see. Absolutely stunning artwork. And that one's the last one. They are cool as well because like once the year has passed, you can flip them over if you want to display them and just have like the regular art cards. They're also like the edges are gilded. Ooh, I almost missed this. I think this is one of the sword letter openers from Fairyloot, but whose sword is it? It is from the book of the month, which is not, I'm definitely not super excited about the YA book. So I think if there's two I'm excited for, it must be the adult book of the month, by the way, so you know what the sword is from. It is For She Is Wrath. Can't remember the author name, but I know what the cover looks like in my head. And then we have a tea towel, which you can never have too many tea towels, am I right? This one is, oh, it says Sea and Vine. So I would assume that it's inspired by Kingdom of the Wicked. Am I right? I'm right. Is that the name of the trattoria that her family run? And it's a very like classic cozy kitchen style, which is cute. I prefer tea towels generally that are more squishy like a regular towel, but we do still use ones like this. Oh, I thought we were done, but I just found a little card with magnetic bookmarks in. These are inspired by Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, and I actually really like the color palette and also the design on these. I feel like there's a lot of items in this month's box. And then finally, before we get into the book of the month, we just have the two tarot cards that are in every Fairyloot box, and these two are the Ace and the Two of Planets. And I think that they're characters from the book of the month. And then moving on to the book of the month, I'm excited to see the Fairyloot edition, which is very different color-wise already. In here as well, we do of course have the monthly fairy scoop, as well as the bookmark with the spoiler card art on. And our book for November is For She Is Wrath by, is it Emily Varga? It is! This one is a completely custom cover for Fairyloot, so I will overlay the original over the top. I have to admit I am much more interested in it now that I've seen this cover, because when I look at the spoilers, I don't really read the synopses when I look at the spoilers for the books. So if I saw this on a shelf next to the other edition, I would be more likely to pick this book up based on this cover. I really, really love the color scheme on here. I have to admit I'm obsessed with like the navy, the burgundy, and the copper foil. We also have a really stunning printed edge on this one. And under the dust jacket, we have foiled and printed end covers. papers and different ones on the back. And then underneath, ooh, see, this one is printed and foiled, but it's printed and foiled in a way that I like, where the foiling is just accenting the printing on the cover. And then underneath we have the original cover of the book, but I think that this is in a slightly different colorway because I think the background on the original is like a greeny color and it's more like burgundy and purple on this one, which I love. So for the synopsis of this one, it says, what if the man you loved was the very person who betrayed you? Dania has been betrayed by her lover and falsely imprisoned for a crime she didn't commit. She's counting down the days until she can exact her revenge. When a fellow prisoner offers a chance at escape and the keys to dangerous djinn magic, okay, I do like djinn fantasy, so maybe I am excited about this one. Armed with a brand new identity and all the power she could want, Dania enacts a plan to bring down those who cheated her and her family. But when the one person standing in her way is the very man who signed her life away, retribution becomes a complicated game of cat and mouse. Because betrayal isn't simple and revenge certainly isn't easy. Not when your heart is involved. Okay, I take it all back. I'm sold. And I'm interested in picking this one up now. As with the Illumicrate, let me know in the comments what your favorite item from this month's Fairyloot box is. I think as a box overall, it was like a solid one, but not one of my favorites from Fairyloot. My favorite item is definitely the Crimson Moth mug, mainly because I really love Crimson Moth. So carrying on with the Fairyloots, we will now do the Romantasy, which I know is not an especially thick book because the box has been dented. The theme for this month is Hearts Ablaze. What is the book? Very fiery, very bright color palette. Dragons? I don't know what this is. What is this? Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. Okay, no, it's December where I'm really excited for two of the books because I need to look up the original cover. I can tell that this is a completely custom cover, but I have no recollection of what the original looks like. I will, of course, overlay it. Ah, yes. Yes, the original looks like a kind of generic YA fantasy, like romantic fantasy cover, which is why I kind of looked at it and was like, it's probably okay. But this one has a completely reworked cover. It has stenciled edges or printed edges that match with plain orange on the top and bottom. We also have custom foiled end papers, which are different on each side. I have to say, I didn't expect this to be a snowy fantasy based on the cover. We also have a foiled and printed hardcover underneath, as well as the original cover underneath in a different colorway. I think that this cover looks better just being in the white and the orange instead of the black. I think that makes it stand out a little bit more from like just generic YA fantasy, which this isn't YA because it's romantasy, but that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting from the original cover. So the synopsis on this one says, Dragonfire no longer blisters the skies over Pentera, but inside the lavish palace, life is still perilous, especially for Tamsin. Raised in the glittering court alongside the princesses, it's her duty to be punished for their misdeeds. Treated as part of the royal family, but also as the lowliest servant, Tamsin fits nowhere. So when she's tasked with the ultimate sacrifice of pretending to be one of the true royal princesses and marry Fel, the beast of the borderlands, son to the great dragon slayer, Tamsin accepts her fate even if it means tricking the deadly warrior. The wedding night begins with unexpected passion but ends in near violence when her trickery is exposed. Rather than start a war, Fel accepts Tamsin as his bride, but Tamsin isn't what she seems. She harbors dark secrets buried so deep even she doesn't know they exist. For Tamsin is more than the false wife of a man who now sees her as his enemy, and when those secrets emerge, they will ignite a flame bright enough to burn the entire kingdom to the bone. Magic is not dead, it is only sleeping, and it will take one ordinary girl with an extraordinary destiny to awaken it. This one very much could go either way. The synopsis is not anything that I haven't read before, but if it's executed well, then there's definitely potential for me to really enjoy this one. And then the last of the Fairyloots is the adult monthly box. Once again, no recollection of what this is anymore. Oh, I do know what this one is. This one seems cute, but cute isn't usually my vibe. The theme is Fortunes Found. I'm really interested to see what the Fairyloot edition of this looks like because I actually, these. I think that the normal one's actually really pretty. Oh, it's very pastel-y. So this one is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. This one is a completely custom cover. Once again, Fairyloot have gone all out for November, so I will overlay the original over the top. I actually really like the US edition of this as well. I think that that one's really pretty. This one, as well as being a completely custom cover, is a very pink one, which I feel is in keeping with what I assume the vibes of this book are. But we have very cute printed edges, and underneath I like the art style that we've gone with for the foiled end papers. It's feeling like slightly Ghibli-esque in the landscaping. It's also the pastel color palette that's giving that, if I'm being honest. Underneath we have a printed or foiled hardcover. I like the lanterns on the back. And then, oh, we have another custom cover underneath. This one is more in the style of the US cover in terms of like the illustration and the color palette, which, like I said, I like that cover, so that's a really nice addition as well. But this one, let me read the synopsis to you guys, because I feel like the atmosphere is really apparent from the design of the book, but I don't actually know what the plot is. Fleeing a troubled past, immigrant fortune teller Tao roams the dusty countryside with only her mule for company, telling small fortunes for small prices. Big fortunes come with big consequences, which she knows from bitter experience. It's a lonely life until she encounters an ex-mercenary and a semi-reformed thief who recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they're joined by a baker with a need is spelled like kneading bread. With a need for adventure, and of course a slightly magical cat. Tao sets down a new path with companions as big-hearted as her fortunes are small. But as her friends break down her walls, the shadows of her past close in. Now Tao must decide whether to risk everything to save the family she never thought that she could have. A cozy fantasy about trying to find yourself and finding a family instead. Perfect for fans of Legends and Lattes, A Psalm for the Wild-Built, and The House in the Cerulean Sea. So yes, I was very right about the vibes in this one. Cozy fantasy for me can go either way. If it hits me at the right time, I can just be like blown away by how heartwarming it is, as I was with The House in the Cerulean Sea. But sometimes, like, if I'm not in the right mood, if I want the stakes to be a little bit higher, if I just read it at the wrong time, or it's a little bit too cutesy maybe, then it can be a complete miss. So we'll see with this one. I do really love East Asian fantasy, so maybe those vibes, that style of storytelling potentially, and the atmosphere will be what makes this one a hit for me. And then finally we have the brand new Forbidden Wing subscription. As we know, my track record with Locked Library, hit or miss. I don't love a bunch of the books that they're selecting for their subscription, and if I'm being honest, what I've seen from the Forbidden Wing so far, I'm feeling pretty much the same way. Now, something that I didn't really realize about this until this box arrived is that these are B format hardbacks, which means that they are small hardbacks. They're not full size. This kind of puts into question the reason why I picked the subscription, because two really big hitters that we've had from Locked Library over the past year and a bit of their subscription: When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, full-size hardback, very big Romantasy release. And then the January one, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys, but I was under the assumption that that was like Romantasy, or at least romance leaning. So I was assuming that they would kind of shift those kinds of picks over to their Romantasy subscription. However, based on the first two picks, I'm not so sure. So full disclosure, if I didn't need to buy this book to get on the subscription, I would have skipped it. And I have also skipped their December book. Ooh, I like their wrapping, because they wrap the Locked Library in black tissue. So they've done this one in pink tissue. I'm gonna have to look up a normal cover for this as well. I don't remember what it's supposed to look like. Something that I haven't loved about Locked Library recently, aside from their book picks, I feel like I kind of scrape in the barrel of their publishing house for some of them. Their level of customization or the way their books look are sometimes not amazing. So let me look at what this one should look like. I will overlay the original over the top, and I can't lie, I do prefer the cover on the original. Yeah, the original cover is not the best thing I've ever seen by any standards. I just really prefer that color palette, I guess, to this one, but it does have an entirely custom cover. We also have printed edges. We have assumedly custom end papers, foiling under the dust jacket. I feel like, if I were to be honest, this is a nice book, okay? It's a nice edition, but I feel like this level of customization, the way that this book looks is something that I would expect from Fairyloot or Illumicrate like 3 years ago. And I know that like companies like Waterstones are pushing the bounds of what is usual for like a basic special edition. And I don't feel like this is standout. Like I feel like places like Waterstones are doing better special editions than this. Does it have the unique spine on it like the Locked Library ones do? Yeah, so assumedly all of these are gonna have the key on the naked cover, so they'll all line up if you have them in a row. Does it have it has a ribbon bookmark. Honestly, I don't like ribbon bookmarks because as soon as they untuck, they just fray. And then you never get them to lie flat again. I find it really frustrating. But anyway, let's read the synopsis of this one. I hate being super negative, especially because we know that I don't love Locked Library right now to begin with, which is really frustrating because Harper Voyager is my favorite fantasy publisher. The general books that they publish are some of my favorite fantasy books, and I just really feel like they're choosing books for their subscription that wouldn't do well if they didn't push them in a subscription. And that's why like I'm not a massive Locked Library fan. And then I do feel like with this subscription, we're not gonna get When the Moon Hatched. Like we're not gonna get those big fantasy romance releases. We're gonna get this, which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of this. Like, I don't know what this is, but the synopsis, it might be good. It might be a good book. I just think that a lot of Locked Library picks recently have got very low ratings on Goodreads, so I don't trust the book selection process. But anyway, this one, the synopsis says, I'll be forced to take the crown simply because of who my parents are. Never mind that my skin, my eyes, the way I move, everything will give me away for what I am. Human in a world ruled by vampires? I was not getting vampire from this. As sole heir to the House of Raven, there is nothing Amelia can't have. The only problem is she doesn't want it. But when the mysterious Kyle enters her closed-off existence, she sees a way out. As rebellion and dark forces swirl around her, Amelia has a choice to make. Leave everyone she loves behind, or stay and accept her destiny. So this one is published by One More Chapter, which is one of these subsidiaries of Harper. I gotta be honest, the main thing about this subscription that I'm not loving is the B format. Because who wants B format hardbacks for fantasy romance? For romance, contemporary romance, yeah, it makes a little bit more sense. I feel like having it for a romantasy box is an indicator of the type of books that we're gonna get. And I don't know if it's for me. We'll see. We'll see. I will stay on the list and I will skip the ones I don't want. And we'll see if we get any like big hitters across like the next year or so. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So here are all of the very pretty special editions from today's unboxing. I think that my favorite one might be For She Is the Wrath by Emily Varga. If I flip it around so that you guys can see the edges, I do really love the edge on The Last Hour Between Worlds, but I think the overall edition is the color scheme for She Is the Wrath that I think makes this my favorite edition of the month. Down in the comments, be sure to let me know what you guys think the prettiest book of today's stack is, and if you guys would like to check out any of the subscription boxes that I have opened for you guys today, then the links to all of the websites for everything I've opened as well as their social media will be down in the description box as always. Once again, a big thank you to Fairyloot and also to Illumicrate for sending me the boxes that I showed you guys in this video. And aside from that, guys, please don't forget to like this unboxing if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head to my description box, you will find a link to my Goodreads, my Instagram, and my Patreon if you would like to join me on any of those. Bree is dreaming in the background, which I'm sure you can hear, but that is fine because that is it from me today, guys. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.